Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 65 of Anti-Life Reviews. It is I, the Tonomakai, a master of minds and men. This week we move over to Marvel and take to the stars as we look at a miniseries that I really enjoyed a lot, and I hope on reread I enjoy it just the same. As today I look at Silver Surfer Requiem. It's a 4-issue series that ran from July 2007 to October 2007 under the Marvel Knights line, which was introduced to be more edgier, adultish, not quite as adult as the Max line, and not quite as rebooting continuity as the Ultimates line, but somewhere in between there. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, before we begin, it's my goal to continue to improve this channel. I think I'm moving in the right direction, so if you found anything I did entertaining, you are legally obligated to hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much. I had a big surge in growth. I had over 100, 200 subs in the past month. I don't know what the hell happened. So thank you very much sincerely, and let's keep it up. Let's talk about the writers and artists on this. The writer on this is J. Michael Straczynski. For me, the best thing about Joseph here is that he's the executor of one Harlan Ellison's estate, one of my favorite writers of all time and a big influence on me. But you may know him as the creator of the great sci-fi show Babylon 5, which was actually pretty good, as well as in the comic world, having long runs on The Amazing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Thor, among others. A divisive writer, but I think when he's on, he can be really good. I think his out-of-continuity work like this is probably his best stuff. Artist, and excuse me if I'm saying his name incorrectly, Esad Ribic, who sounds like an Elder Scrolls character in name, mostly known for his covers, which are genuinely incredible. His inside work is somehow even better, though he hasn't done a ton of it. Everything he has done has been awesome. Lots of various X-Men work, a number of issues of Thor, God of Thunder, and King Thor, Secret Wars, not the 2015 one, not the original Secret Wars one, obviously, among other things. Just a really interesting, dynamic artist that I enjoy a lot. I have to say that it was the 2015 Secret Wars, not the original. My bad. Issue 1, Kyrie, which Kyrie Ellison means Lord have mercy, in a biblical sense and not in a full house sense. Now, I am unabashedly a huge Silver Surfer fan, and I've read a majority of his multiple series. I'm sure I've missed an issue or many over the years, but he's one of my favorites, so my bias will be heavy. They go over his backstory in this one, so let's do that quickly first. Planet of Zen-La, Galactus, Destroyer, Devourer of Worlds, has come to, well, devour the world. One man, Norrin Radd, said he would take Galactus to many worlds, countless. He would do the hard work of finding them, if only Zen-La was spared. Galactus, in all his mystery and mercy, took this offer up and made Norrin Radd the Silver Surfer, who soared the stars, finding planets for his master to devour, and the billions died because of it. But then they came to Earth, and the rebellious nature of its people, of the Fantastic Four, lit a spark in the Surfer, freedom, hope, etc. He turned against his master, and in the end was freed. Free to set rights he had wronged, to make the Silver Surfer a name of peace and of not fear. All these years later, he returned to the Fantastic Four, more to the point, to Dr. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. He says something is wrong. Test after test proved the worst. There's nothing they can do for Norrin. Maybe no one in the universe can. Norrin thanks them for how they helped him to be the man he is today, and thanks them for everything they have done. He thanks them for giving him years true to himself. He understands the results. He is Silver Surfer. He has seen more in the universe than what others could ever hope for in 100 lifetimes. And he is dying. This was excellent. The art, the pacing, the romantic prose that captured the Surfer's words so well. Surfer's sort of space Shakespeare, and more brilliant and less flatulence and yo mama jokes. He is soft and sad and just wants to see the beauty of it all, the small things of the universe. And that is how the character's been written since its turn against Galactus, when he was written well, that is. And this is good writing. His voice is captured perfectly. So the Fantastic Four, from the small moments we get with them. This is just really sweet and sad and a great opening. High praise. This whole thing will get high praise, to warn you now. Issue 2, Sanctus, another part of a hymn, meaning holy, like Sanctus, 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 holy, holy, holy. My Catholic school teachings have come in handy, finally. This one we have Peter Parker, Spider-Man, fighting some guy in a giant mech. Surfer ends the fight rather unceremoniously. Him and Spider-Man talk. Norrin wonders on the nature of man. Why do they do harm to one another? We should have the same goals, fears, dreams. We eat the same food, sleep the same sleep. We dream the same dreams. Why do we divide ourselves? He says there is something he wants to do before he leaves Earth and wants Spider-Man to help him. Spider-Man debates what to ask. It's sort of like a genie with a wish or a monkey's paw. In the end, Norrin says he will give Spider-Man a very small experience with what it is like to have the power cosmic. Spider-Man says, no, not for me, but it's someone else I know's birthday. And he goes and finds Mary Jane Watson, Spider-Man's girlfriend or wife or whatever the hell she is here. And he gives her that gift. And though she was only gone an hour with the power cosmic, she flew away and left them to discuss things. She would try her whole life to describe the nature of it, the incredible feeling she was given. Spider-Man asks one thing before Surfer goes. He had finally made a decision. Why not let the whole world feel this? Maybe all those divisions we created might become a little bit smaller. And so he does, the Surfer. He gives the whole world 5 minutes of what it's like to be well. Let's read the narration. In prison cells where light could not penetrate, in cities and villages where the gnawing ache of hunger was eternal and tangible, in torture camps and war zones, and the parliaments of tyrants, in distant places where hope had become a mockery, and tomorrow was only a promise of contained pain and suffering, in the thoughts of those who caused violence because they knew no other way, whose own minds were as torn and tortured as those they harmed. For 5 minutes, they and the whole world knew what it was to be at peace, to be free. Spider-Man and the Surfer say their goodbyes, and Peter says he never saw the Surfer again, and he hopes he found peace. He deserved it. Absolutely another wonderful issue. Lots of little things beyond the big ones that do it for me. There's a classic, Lee Kirby moment with the Surfer, where he says, between the brutalizers and their victims, there always stands the power cosmic, before beating the mech. Just that classic Marvel thing that's so wonderful. The moral debate Spider-Man has for the world is great. He thinks of all the things he could be done, but he knows they won't always help. They might make things worse. He says, this is why we mainly just fight the bad guys one at a time. Because it's one thing to stop a bad guy from doing evil, when we can all agree on what evil is. But to try to change how people are, it's impossible. In general, Spider-Man was written so well. He quips and his sarcasm, his honesty. He's a little silly. He's sentimental. He's Spider-Man. That voice is captured perfectly. A man who does his best to do right, but doesn't know he's sure he's the right guy to be doing it. I can't praise this enough. I know you're already sick of that, but this is quality writing and art. Issue 3, Benedictus, Blessed Be the Lord, essentially. This one is a tale of 2 parts. Part 1, Norrin Radd meets with Dr. Stephen Strange. Stephen gives him a flame that is all of the knowledge of the world divided into 2 parts, that which exists before you came and that which exists after you came. You will always know what you preserved and what was created through your kindness. A little post-nut clarity there from Dr. Strange. Part 2, the second part, is Surfer finally leaving Earth, coming across 2 religious alien races warring, tries to peacefully negotiate, but things fall apart. So he proceeds to wreck their shit so they can no longer fear God, but they fear him. In the end, he declares of them, and they remember in sacred texts, if sacred places are spared the ravages of war, then make all places sacred, and if holy people are to be kept harmless from war, then make all people holy. The weakest of the issues, but by no means bad. Stephen Strange says something I rather liked. The researchers contacted him because doctors always consult other doctors when they find themselves at the end of a diagnosis they can't beat. I rather like that. The alien folks or whatever, it's interesting to see the Surfer changing things for a positive, even if violence is needed. His nature sometimes doesn't change, even if his message does. Art is still incredible and consistent. The alien stuff was wonderful and dark enough to want more, but not overly exciting. Issue 4, Angus D, meaning Lamb of God. Norrin finally returns home to Zen-La, to the woman he loved and left behind, Shalabal. He has come home not to be saved, he's beyond saving, but for an ending. People of Zen-La come by their numbers to say goodbye, to the man who saved their planet, the man who saved countless worlds. And when each of them touched him, they were forever to carry the mark of Norrin, a small, glimmering piece of him embedded in them, never to be forgotten. But it was not all peace, for a shadow came over Zen-La, as it had before. Mighty Galactus had returned and demanded his former herald come before him. He did, but it was not anger or rage that Galactus came. He said he does not know if he can save the Surfer, but he can try. Norrin said no, just keep the oath you had all those years ago. Never harm Zen-La, and Galactus, of course, agreed. But it was soon after Norrin Radd, the Silver Surfer, passed on, and for 3 days Galactus stood vigil, a towering reminder of their shared history. The first time a people, any race, had shared loss with Galactus, and the first world he would be welcome henceforth. Shalabal asked one boon of great Galactus. Of course he accepted, taking Norrin out an appropriate distance and made him into a star. A new star in the universe. It began with a star being born of loss, and it ends the same. And we see the Watcher, ever vigilant, the unseen narrator of this story, and he gives us the final words. I only know this, that his name was Norrin Rad, once the Silver Surfer, Herald of Galactus, has actually saved the lives of billions, that he was my friend, and that he shall be missed. What can I say that I've not said? A perfect ending. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into my overview. I can't really say that much about this besides I openly wept a number of times. It was genuinely emotional, heartfelt, sincere. It didn't pander or come off as preachy or silly. There was no hidden messages in here, and if there were, they were so well melded it was seamless. Not that I have any real problem with someone putting their opinions, political or otherwise, in comics, as I said a number of times. When done in context and appropriately written, well written, it can add so much flavor and color to it. But this wasn't about that. This was the end of the Silver Surfer, which seems strange that Marvel didn't put it under their end line of books. It did with a lot of other characters, so it seems unusual they didn't try to slap on that moniker on this one, even though it didn't really need it. This book is pretty much never talked about. And a few people who have ever read it, honestly, Silver Surfer in general is a character that doesn't get a ton of love at all. He's barely talked about. He appears infrequently. His books don't sell that well, which is a shame because it had amazing people in it. Mike Allred was on one of his most recent ones, and I love Mr. Allred. Madman is a series I will be eventually talking about at some point. But the point is, he's not in the MCU. Marvel's cosmic stuff is pretty much Guardians of the Galaxy and nothing else, which is a shame. But I've gone off topic and all over the place. This was well written, superbly well. The art was moving and fluid, and the whole thing, as a package, is a beautiful, out-of-continuity end to one of my favorite characters. So yeah, I'm a fan of this. Please, if you like the Silver Surfer at all, take a moment to read this, or just listen to my review over and over, ad nauseum, on repeat. That was my review of Silver Surfer Requiem. What did you folks think about it? Are you a fan of the Silver Surfer? Do you like cosmic hero stuff? Do you want more of that? Is it okay to cry at comics? Because I do all the time. Let me know your thoughts down below. Also, head to my Patreon and let me know what you want me to review. I keep a total open mind. I'm willing to consider just about anything. Also, follow me on Instagram for daily Twin Peaks memes. Don't forget my podcast, the Dark Peaks Podcast. We're another Instagram guy talk about bullshit. Next week, I keep at Marvel, but go Earthwise, as I look at Moon Knight, The Bottom. Well, this has been the Tono Makai, Master of Minds and Men. Thank you, and goodbye.